First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello everyone, I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now. That is a live shot down there on the river. It is pretty cloudy. You may have noticed that. And it's also a first alert weather day for a few different reasons. Hello. Thanks for joining us. We are live streaming on Facebook, on YouTube, on our website, and our apps, so lots of places to find us. And if you're on our social media channels, feel free to ask questions as we go throughout this next segment, because we have the expert here with us. We have the man himself, Chief Meteorologist Mark Nelsen, live from an undisclosed location as he's joining us here on Zoom. Mark, always good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. It's actually a bedroom here in the house. There's cats. I don't know if you can see them. They're just sleeping. They just sleep all day. You know how it is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, well, there's going to be cats on there, so obviously we want to do that. I just didn't want to give away, if in case this was a secret location.
No.
It's a bedroom.
No.
Well, we've got a lot happening here. I know it's been a pretty exciting week coming up here with weather. So I want you to lead us off. You tell us what we should be knowing here.
Yeah, so we've covered, we've got a first alert weather day in the Gorge because we had snow earlier this morning. I saw reports of 3 to 6 inches, so that turned out pretty well. And then now things are warming up in the Gorge pretty rapidly, so that's over with. All right. The second thing going on, we have snow in the Cascades, right? And it is snow. You know what? Let's check while I'm talking, I'm going to check the numbers here to see what the latest we have. We just found out the timberline is going to open on Saturday, tomorrow. Yeah, they've had a timberline. There's been 16 inches of new snow already. So 23 2-foot base. Yeah, so that's just a start. So that's good. And so we got big snow up there. We think about another 8 to 12. Well, actually from this evening, another 8 to 12. So let's say another foot to foot and a half before things warm up tomorrow evening. Yeah.
And that's all at timberline level?
That's at 6,000 feet, but we know, of course, it's been snowing all the way down to government camp. Let me check the temperatures too while we're at it here. We've had plenty of snow down at that elevation too. I don't have the exact numbers for there. Yeah, it's 32 down there, so it's a colder, drier snow. Of course, as you go up higher, it gets colder higher up in the atmosphere. So that's number 2, right? Gorge snow, Cascade snow. Yeah, and then the rain. We're under a flood watch now, west of the Cascades.
Yeah, I just saw that came through. So yeah, talking about the flood watch. How wide of a range is that? Is it everywhere west of the Cascades? Or
yeah, here's the deal. Yeah, I think it's most areas in northwest Oregon and southwest Washington. The Weather Service puts those up. And a flood watch means, hey, there could be areas of flooding. A flood watch could either be for what we call urban flooding, but it's really like non-river flooding, like in your neighborhood, a creek goes over its banks and floods somebody's house, the basement, or something like that. It can cover that kind of flooding. Yeah, and the other kind is big river flooding. Will the large rivers come up and flood? And Weather Service and the Northwest River Forecast Center thinks the combined effect of all the rain coming up here could possibly push some rivers out of their banks at some point, maybe Monday, Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, depending on the river. And can you pull up that graphic there's a graphic of total rainfall? I think I sent you 2 different ones.
Let's see. I've got a couple of models. That one?
Oh, yeah, that one will do it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. That is, what is that? That's total rain through Wednesday morning. This is what we call like an ensemble of models. And this is from one model. It guesses maybe 4 inches in the valleys and maybe 8 or 10 inches in the mountains. Some of that, of course, in the mountains at first is going to be snow. But then things turn warmer tomorrow night and into Sunday. Everything that falls in the Cascades from late tomorrow evening, all the way through early Wednesday is in the form of rain. Do we have the one other one that looks just like that?
Yeah, there's this one right here.
Oh, yeah, that one's a little prettier. Now, that one has higher resolution. It's the European model. Sometimes if you listen to our podcast or read my weather blog, European model is the #1 global model, and they just upgraded the resolution. If you look closely there, look at those areas in there's kind of a, well, I'm a little colorblind, but kind of a white, almost pinkish color. Do you see that?
Yeah, is that in the center there? Kind of in the
Coast Range and the Cascades.
Yeah, Coast Range and Cascades, yep.
Yeah, that's 10 or 12 inches of rain. So that's a lot of rain.
So that's the heaviest part right there, that center.
Yeah, because the mountains capture all this moisture moving inland. I mean, that's why this is a temperate rainforest that is around us in the Coast Range and the Cascades. You've probably seen moss when you drive through there, and just a very wet place. So that tells us when we have that much rain that large rivers could possibly flood. So that shows those two. Let's go to the atmospheric river. Just look at that. Okay, so now this has lots of pretty colors. Greg, you like lots of colors?
It does. It's very pretty. Yeah.
Very pretty. And what you see there, it's called precipitable water, which is the amount of moisture in the whole column of air overhead. Like if you took a column, like a little, went straight up in the atmosphere, how much moisture is in there.
Okay.
And this is pretty clear cut. The larger numbers are more moisture. And of course, all the red there at the bottom, that's in the tropics because it's always humid in the tropics. Greg, have you ever been down to Bourbon Street in Louisiana in summertime?
I have. Maybe not in the summertime.
Have.
Maybe not. I've been in the south though in the summer for sure.
Yeah, and it's very humid, sweaty.
Yes.
And
I was in Savannah in August, so it was
okay. That counts. Yeah. That counts for sure. Yeah, so that'll count. So there's always lots of humidity in the tropics, but we get what we call these atmospheric rivers, where we get all this moisture that flows north. Look how this is a forecast for late Monday, and look at that, the amount of high-level moisture there from Hawaii all the way up to Oregon and Washington. I mean, that looks kind of like a river in the atmosphere, doesn't it?
It does. So it's just bringing all of that up, and then that's what we're going to get dumped on.
Yeah, and not only do we get dumped on, it's very warm rain. I mean, temperatures around 60 with this, 55, 60 degrees. So we sometimes call that a pineapple express. Let's go to the last graphic I think I have here. It's just a nice little description from the Weather Service. Kind of hard to see maybe if you're on a small monitor, if you're watching this on your phone. Yeah. But basically, we call these atmospheric rivers when we get these narrow channels of air that run into anywhere in the globe, but really along the West Coast. And then they hit the mountains. The moisture is forced to rise. I mean, the air mass rises, it cools. Cooler air has to drop moisture like a sponge. And so on the windward-facing slopes of both the Coast Ranges and the Cascades in Western North America, which includes Oregon and Washington, we get tremendous amounts of precipitation. So what's over us today for the snow actually is an atmospheric river, but it's a cooler one. Somebody said maybe we should call these the Sushi Express, because we're getting quite a feed of moisture coming from Japan, from Eastern Asia, and that's why this one's a little bit colder. It's coming from the west today, but then they turn much warmer starting tomorrow night and Sunday. And these atmospheric rivers are amazing, Greg, because they carry far more water than the Earth's rivers. I mean, you see, I think it has a few facts right in there. Yeah, a strong atmospheric river, like those ones that hit California last year, could be 7-10 times as much water as the Amazon just flowing through the atmosphere overhead.
Wow.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah, I'm seeing that right there. Yeah, there's all kinds of. Yeah, there's a lot of statistics on here that it's showcasing. I'm even having trouble reading some of them, but I mean, that's a lot of water. That's a lot of water that's coming through. And
so if you're sitting, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just saying, like, the one that's coming now is the one coming from Japan. Then we have the Hawaiian one.
Right.
So between those two, that's a lot that's going to be happening here over these next few days.
A lot of moisture, and if it's spread out enough, what I really watch for as a meteorologist here, you watch for in like 3 or 6 hours will we get an excessive amount. Because here's an example. I had a boss back. It wasn't our current news director, but I had a news director maybe 15 years ago, and he said it's been raining like every day. Oh, hey, I'm doubled.
I made you a double. Yeah.
No, it's okay.
You doubled up on the mark there.
So he said, hey, it's been raining every day for 3 weeks. How come we're not seeing flooding? And I said, well, it hasn't been intense enough. So we can have half inch of rain every day for a month, and what would that be? 15 inches of rain, and we would have almost no flooding. But if we get an intense period of rain over a short period of time, and we're kind of watching Sunday morning closely, we'll see about that. Some models say there'll be a bunch, some don't. I think that's what we're really kind of figuring out there. And we're also getting hints now that as we head into Sunday afternoon and Monday, it tapers off here in most of Northwest Oregon, but maybe Southwest Washington continues to rain for like 2 more days, like up towards Chehalis and then down towards Astoria. So we've seen historically some big floods there. So we're watching that pretty closely as well. For this reason, the Weather Service puts up a flood watch and says, hey, there may be flooding here in the next few days, but we can't really pinpoint specific rivers yet.
So it's just letting people know that this could happen. Be aware that, with all this coming through. Going back to something you were, talking about the snow side of things. I just saw somebody mention, more snow, question mark. To recap what we said at the beginning, Timberline is going to open tomorrow, I guess, at least to some extent. And they're getting a bunch of snow up there. Will this continue on through the weekend as that warmer atmospheric river comes through, or?
Yes and no.
Okay.
They probably got another 1.5 feet coming up at Timberline, so that should put their total up to about maybe 40 inches. But then they probably pick up 2 to 5 inches of rain from late Saturday night through Monday and beyond. So I bet that 40 inches it's going to get compressed down into the Cascade concrete we all know and love. But it's not like all that snow is going to be washed away. I would say places that have less than 1.5 feet of snow may see all that snow disappear, but the higher parts of the ski resorts will still have snow when this is over. It's just going to be a little saturated.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, in other words, if you want to go up there, Saturday is going to be the day.
Tomorrow is the day. Oh, yeah. Sunday will be pretty rough, just pouring rain. I would be surprised if they stay open Sunday. I mean, they make that decision, but Sunday, typically those days, strong wind, 40 degrees, and it's pouring.
Yeah. Yeah. That is not ideal conditions. If you want to be up there. So this is coming through, and then how many, you mentioned, I mean, it's hard to say exactly how many days or where this is going to be. Maybe Southwest Washington gets it a little bit longer, but looking even just a little bit further out, are we looking at it continuing to be, wet like this, or do we have anything drying off? Okay.
We think Monday and Tuesday, that atmospheric river. And here's a big thing with those atmospheric rivers. They're very narrow channels of air. So think of it like a fire hose that's flipping around up and down the northwest coastline. And that's one thing that makes them hard to forecast. Like we know there's going to be flooding somewhere along the northwest coastline in the next few days. But we think it'll shift a little north Monday, Tuesday, and then shift back down over us later Tuesday and Wednesday. And once it finally shifts south, then we're out of the warm air and we're back to cool showers at some point Wednesday. And it's possible we just dry out and have a much nicer weather pattern again by the end of next week.
Okay. All right. Well, I feel like I've learned
a lot. In fact, I'm working on it right now. Here's your forecast.
There it is.
The big secret.
If anybody wants the secret look at it, at your forecast. Somebody's taking a screen cap right now. I'm going to spoil that before the newscast.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, thank you for taking some time to talk to us.
Right. And
always appreciate it.
As I'm sure you were going to mention, we have a podcast, and we have episode 79 coming up. It's coming up in less than an hour, right?
Less than an hour at 2 p.m. Yeah, we'll be running that. So every Friday here at 2 p.m., we've got the Fox 12 Weather Podcast video edition. Any teasers that you want to give for this week's episode?
Jeff Forgeron had a baby. Well, his wife had a baby. And we've got a cute little picture of her. And what else did we do? We just, sat there and chatted weather for 40 minutes. I mean, what could be more fun?
I mean, it actually is. It's pretty entertaining watching. I don't know who else on. I'm assuming Jeff didn't make it onto this one.
Jeff was a little busy, so it was just me and Camilla and Katie. So it was a lot of fun. And thanks for having me on here, by the way. I don't often get to be on Fox 12 now. So
it's always great to have you on. So yeah, thank you, Mark. And anything else that you want to share for the weather that people should know?
Nope, we'll be live at 4 p.m.
Okay,
Fox
live
12.
at 4 p.m. and watch the weather podcast at 2 p.m. So so there we go. All right, Mark, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Did my audio cut out? Okay. Or you were just being quiet. You were doing the actual correct television thing, and I'm just
right. I just got quiet. I have nothing else to say. I've got to go to work.
All right.
I had to get some shoes on.
No, it did freeze. Okay. All right. We'll continue on here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. So again, that was Mark Nelsen joining us right here on Fox 12 now. We have more coming up. As we mentioned at 2 p.m., we have the Fox 12 Weather Podcast video edition. So we'll be airing that. We also will be here at 1:30 p.m. We're going to be joined by two representatives from the project, actually two of the leads on the project for the new Burnside Bridge. You may have heard the new Burnside Bridge construction could take 5 years in which it would be shut down completely. That's a very long time. So we're going to be discussing that and why that is, what goes into this new bridge. Obviously, we need an earthquake-proof bridge. The one now is not, if we did get hit with the big one. But we'll get a lot more details on that, including I have renderings of what the new bridge could look like. There's a couple of different renderings. Nothing's been decided, but we'll take a look at those as well. So that's going to be live at 1:30 p.m. So wherever you're watching, come right back at 1:30. If you're watching on the website and the apps, though, I've got a little bit more for you. So you'll see the social media video close out. I'll continue on there. If we have breaking news or anything like that, I'll be right back as well. So I'll talk to you in just a few. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.